how do you deal with the psychology of money when it comes to your clients? Because they come to you from all different backgrounds, right? Where some are great with money, some are not. Like, how do you, I guess, how do you deal with the psychology of that? Because that can be probably tough at times.
It can. And we plant seeds early in the relationship, but that's another thing that you really have to work at the other person's pace. And everybody has a money story, and everybody's money story is unique. I was actually listening to Jaden Doyle's episode on your podcast this morning, and his story is so profound. And it's a perfect example of how you grew up and what you took from your childhood when it comes to money is surely following you into your adulthood. And a lot of people haven't taken that pause to really think about what are my beliefs around money and where did they come from? Because the first step is being aware that you have a limiting belief, right? And
Yeah.
so that's what we do is really try to figure out what is this person's money philosophy, because everybody has their own money philosophy and every philosophy has an origin story. That's your childhood, right? Once you can start bringing it to that level of awareness, that leads to the opportunity to show them you can change this. You can change a core belief. You can change how your brain neurons fire and create new neural pathways to believe something different that's going to get you to this place. Whereas if you never address your money ceilings in your mind, it's going to keep you stuck. And a lot of people wonder, why am I stuck? Why can't I make more? Why am I only making this? And it's truly all up here.
Yeah. Do you have any money ceilings in your life, I wonder?
I am super chill when it comes to money. I feel financially free now and I have my long-term goals, but because I know what I know, money is a tool. We're not actually chasing money. We're chasing moments and time with our money. And so for me, I manage my money very intuitively. My business could make more money, no doubt. If that was my goal to make more money, we would be somewhere completely different right now. But part of understanding money and the role that it plays in your life is answering the question of how much is enough.
Yeah. Well, do you have a, a number in mind for you? How much is enough?
For me, how much is
Yeah, I
enough?
don't need to know the exact number. I just wonder if you do have a number in mind.
I do, and it's constantly changing. And I think that's something people need to hear as well. When you're looking at retirement. I call it retirement. A lot of people don't like that word anymore. And for law firms specifically, like your business is a vessel to get you to this place of financial freedom and you can exit profitably. And so the number that you're looking for is what do you want to do
Yeah.
once you don't have that responsibility anymore? And what people need to hear is that it's okay not to know. It's also okay to think you know, and then it changes. But also recognize that that's a formula. So if what you want to do with your life and the people in it and for the people in your life changes, that number is going to change as well. So it's important to continually dial that in periodically.
Yeah. The the thing I've always loved about Max Law is that and we've always kind of talked about like how you know you want to be able to live your life, right? That's a big part of it, and the big part of the reason why we have these firms is so we can actually run our lives and spend time with our family and everything. And that's why I always like the feel of like Max Law, like Max Law Con, like it's people come out there and yes, we talk about making money, all kind of stuff, but it's just it's really about getting to talk to it. It's really just coming out and hanging out with each other. I know you all are a sponsor of Max Law Con, which I think is awesome. So thank you for doing that. But I've always like with Maximum Lawyer, but like Max Law Con, people coming out, it's like just about hanging out and everything, and just getting to know each other, and we see each other virtually all the time. And I think that like I'm glad you talked about kind of like that part about like living your life. Like that's why we do this. I think it's really really important. But you had talked about like making money, right? That part of it. And what is frustrating to me, and maybe you'll disagree with me about this, but is people focus so much on revenue and they ignore the profit part of it. And I talk about ego numbers all the time where like revenue, a number of employees, those are ego numbers, right? It's to me, I don't care what your revenues are. They don't matter to me. It's really what your profits are. So can you talk about that part of it and how sometimes it doesn't, well, maybe you disagree with this part, but sometimes doesn't make sense to make more revenue because it may cost you profit, and it may be worse for you to scale to that point because you might make less money. So can you talk about that part of it, that dynamic?
I would love to talk about that. But first, I want to tell you when I went into business for myself in 2017, Maximum Lawyer was the first group that I stumbled upon on Facebook. And immediately I was like, oh my gosh, this group is so different. And I'm being serious here. And the difference was the entrepreneurial mindset. So to speak to, the goal of this group is to, yes, run a profitable business, learn the lessons, practice law, these types of things. But the ultimate goal is to live life on your own terms. I saw that years back, and I almost everybody I talked to, I'm like, have you heard of Maximum Lawyer? Because you should put this question in the group. You're going to get such good feedback, and everybody in there has an open mind. So I genuinely appreciate your group and what it's done for the law firm owners that I've come into contact with, and I'm really excited about Max LawCon.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. I mean, I can't wait. We after being away from it for a couple of years, it's just great to it's great to have it back on. And again, thank you for being a sponsor. It's awesome. But um, I want you to hear the rest of the answer though about revenue versus profit.
Yes.
I think that is so. Give me your thoughts. I shouldn't have tainted your thoughts with my thoughts, but go ahead and let me know your thoughts on it.
No, you're spot on. And I think a story that'll really drive this home. I spoke with a law firm owner who was grossing top line revenue $7 million a year. And you'll hear that number and think, oh my gosh, that like they're making really good money, right? The reason they called us is because they had one bad month. The owner had to skip a paycheck and take out a loan to cover payroll. Your top line revenue is almost irrelevant. That particular person was making personally less than somebody who's bringing in 300,000 gross revenue a year and doing it in a way that protects profits in their pocket. So you're absolutely right. And I hear that all the time too. We like to focus on the revenue number because that's like what sounds big to not only to us, but the people that we tell. Like it feels good to be like, you tell people, I have $1 million business, I have a multi-million-dollar business. But that's the thing about money. You can look at somebody and it looks like they're doing amazing and well, but what you don't see is the debt behind them that revenue won't cover anytime soon. And so I think the most important number that business owners should be looking at is profit at the bottom. And even profit is not cash in bank. There are things to consider after that. But draw your eyes to the bottom, not only the top.